right, we good?
We're good.
So let's see. Ethan, I've got the first pick. I think it's a pretty easy decision, so I'll just go Christian McCaffrey.
Are you going to talk it through?
There's not much to talk through. Who are you going to do? Who are you going to draft, Gronk?
All right, I'm Chingaya. I have the second pick. Right now on the board, we got Thomas Barkley Cook, and I'm go with Barkley.
Nice selection.
Love it.
I'm Lynn, and I'm going to go with Zeke because he's been a pretty safe pick for me the last couple of years. So
You think he's cute, that's why.
I hate Ohio State.
I'm really excited that you took Zeke and took that off me, and I don't have to take Zeke. I'm going to take Michael Thomas because he's just a beast.
Monster, yeah.
What was it? 60 more PPR points than anybody else at the wide receiver position. Something like that.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But 5, I'm left up with Sam. You got Cook, Kamara, Adams, Hopkins, everyone down the board. But for me, years past, hating the Saints, loving Cook, had him last year. I'm going to go with him again.
Really can't go wrong with the first 10 picks.
Nope. Yeah. So, David, I'm here at pick 6. I'm between Kamara and Adams, my wide receiver and running back, but I think Saints are going to go big, so I'm going to take Kamara.
Okay. I'm feeling like I'm going to be able to get Adams here because Ben is going to go Hopkins, right?
Ben is going to go Julio Jones.
Oh,
interesting.
That's fine.
Over D-Hop?
Well, D-Hop's with the new team. There's a lot of uncertainty with DeAndre this year.
Yeah. So, hey guys, I have 2 minutes. I'm not going to waste all 2 minutes. We didn't really introduce anything. You know, I'm Chris, Jeremy, David's here, Ben's here, Lynn, Sam, Ethan. We're doing this live draft. As it stands now, I'm pick 8. Adams, Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Hill. I just have a thing for Devontae Adams. I'm taking him 8th overall.
Good pick.
Absolutely dominating the target share on the Packers. They haven't really shown an interest in picking up anybody else or throwing the ball to anybody else. Funchess is not really gonna be a big target share.
On the
Austin.
On the clock, Austin. I mean, this is kind of like kismet here, you know. The Cardinals fan and everyone sleeping on D. Hopkins joining Cliff in the desert. That's rough. What a gift. I mean, we got Godwin, Hill, Evans. But I'm going to stick with my boy in the desert now. I can call him my boy. But D. Hopkins at 8.
I can't even think of who the Cardinals QB is, so.
You got to be. We allowed you in this draft? It's Kyler Murray.
You invited me.
Offensive rookie.
I should have looked over a resume of some sort before I let you in.
You made me wake up from my nap, so.
Oh. So I believe.
All right, I'm on the clock. All right, so this is going to be kind of a surprise pick here at PPR, but Derrick Henry just heated up all season long. It was a solid finish for him, and I don't see him losing any momentum to start the season. He's going to be the focal point of that Tennessee offense. Derrick Henry is going to be a top 5 PPR player this year. I would have taken him in the top 7, but I got him at number 10. Derrick Henry at number 10. 11. I'm tempted to go Aaron Jones here. I don't know if he's going to have all the carries. When he really blew up, Jamal Williams was hurt. It's between him and Tyreek Hill here. I'm gonna go out for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek only played half the season. He was a dominant top 3 receiver every game he played. Let's see what he can do. Healthy Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1.
Back to back on the swing. Adam with Henry, Derrick Henry, and then Tyreek Hill coming back at you.
All right, we're back on the clock here on the swing. Pick 2 in the second round. Godwin's Evan at the top of the board. But me personally, I like a little bit of balance, especially early on with the talent. So I got to go running back here in my mind. But I do not like Aaron Jones. Not a fan, and don't really trust Eckler or Fournette. So I'm going to go down a little bit, but Nick Chubb will be another 1,000-yard rusher. He'll get the volume. Hopefully, we lose some wide receivers in Cleveland, and they just, the dogs pound. So we're going to go Nick Chubb.
Nice selection.
Are they moving Kareem Hunt? What's happening with Kareem Hunt?
I haven't heard a thing.
I haven't heard a
For the
thing either.
Chubb,
When he hits somebody else and gets arrested.
It's back to me, and I really didn't expect Austin. I thought for sure you're going to take Godwin here, so I was already thinking ahead to do I like Drake here, but I was going to draft Mixon, but Godwin here sitting to me at 13th overall. It's kind of a no-brainer, but it leaves me. I got to wait how many more picks for a running back, so I'm going to say screw it and go Godwin and Adams, stud wide receiver back to back.
Yeah, so that
like Godwin. I had him last year. He was great for me.
Mm-hmm.
So both of you guys passed on Aaron Jones, and there was somebody who I was looking at along with Nick Chubb. But I just can't get behind the whole free Jones concept for whatever reason. Not a fan. So I'm actually going to go Joe Mixon.
It's a great pick.
Yeah, not all that crazy a pick either.
No, not at all. And I mean, I love Aaron.
Way undervalued.
I love Aaron Jones too. I feel like in my writing, in my articles, I always mention him. But this early on, I don't like pigeonholing myself with two Packers on the same offense.
I'm more than happy for you guys to let him get back to me. So.
Well, I'm going to end up taking Aaron Jones here, doubling up at running back. Jones has been a top 3 or 4 PPR back the last 2 years. I was hoping for Godwin to fall down. I don't trust Mike Evans actually at all with Tom Brady in this offense. I think it's going to mainly go to Godwin. So I'll double at running back and take Jones here.
I like it.
So with my second pick, I was honestly, after it being passed that many times, Aaron Jones would be sitting there for me. But he's not anymore.
Have to make contingency
Mike
plans.
Evans got Eckler, Fournette, and Kelsey. But I think I'm going to have to go Fournette here.
The bruising running back.
Are you hoping he stays with Jacksonville?
I think this has been super interesting so far to see where guys have gone. And I've got to tell you, the biggest guy, in my opinion, that's been hurt today is Mike Evans, because that turns Godwin into the Julian Edelman type wide receiver that Tom Brady's always had. I think you get Gronk back, and that's his down the middle of the field type player. Mike Evans with his buttery hands. I think he's the guy that takes the biggest hit in production. But for me, I need a running back, and my favorite running back, I think, in the NFL right now, and I'm a Cowboys fan, so it says a lot, is Josh Jacobs. I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. I think that this guy, we just saw him scratch the surface with what he's going to be able to do in the NFL last year. This guy's going to be an unbelievable running back for years to come.
Fantastic pick.
I'm just going to take a big swing and get Travis Kelce right off the board, because he's in my queue, the first one. So we'll take it.
You have to try and talk it through at least.
No, that's fine. If I have a second, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, that have commented on my articles, and when you can get a guy like Kelce at tight end, he's in another atmosphere of tight end. So you're setting yourself apart as far as tier drop off and stuff like that. So it's not crazy, not a home run pick, not a crazy.
Not a crazy pick.
Alrighty, I'm here at pick 9. We still got Evans, Eckler, Drake, Kittle on the board. I did draft Barkley, so maybe my head is thinking get a second running back. But then there is Kittle still on the board for me. I do like a bigger tight end, especially in San Fran. I think they're really going to try to push again this year. All up to Jimmy G, though. So I'm actually just going to go with Kittle because I just like him, and I think he's going to have some more production this year.
All right, the Whiz Kid's up for back-to-back picks in the swing. What do you got for us, Ethan?
So I honestly did not think that I would be sitting here looking at Eckler and Drake.
At 20th, I know.
Yeah. So I think one of these picks has got to go Eckler because he's my favorite running back left on the board.
PPR monster.
So now I've already got 2 running backs down and no wide receivers. So of the wide receivers currently on the board, not a fan. Well, Evans is still there, but I just don't like him because I think Godwin's the guy. I do love Amari Cooper this year just because of the situation with Dallas and McCarthy running the offense. So I'm going to go Cooper.
Can't deny that logic.
Now we are in the 3rd round, and Mike Evans is still on the board. He is clearly slipping. It happened in one day. He went from a top of the 2nd round pick to a 3rd round pick.
Yeah. I also want to pick up a wide receiver here. I'm not going to pick up Mike Evans. He's still going slipping. I'm looking. We got wide receivers. Got DJ Moore, Kenny Galladay, Adam Thielen, Robinson in Chicago. I'm liking DJ Moore in Carolina. I know they don't have a quite QB situation that's the greatest, but I think Teddy can play. So I'm going with DJ Moore.
So I definitely want to get a wide receiver off the board here, and the top 3 that are there are Mike Evans, Kenny Galladay, and Adam Thielen, and I am definitely not passing up Kenny Galladay. He led the league in receptions this past season, so.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Touchdown, Pat. He led the league in touchdown catches, yeah.
And with the healthy Stafford, that's numbers aren't going to get better.
Mike Evans is still on the board. It's crazy that Mike Evans is still on the board. I didn't think Mike Evans would still be on the board here.
That's what's so great about doing live drafts. You don't know what's going to happen, you know.
Mike Evans, Kenyon Drake, Lamar Jackson. I could see some strategy in taking a quarterback here. It would not be Lamar Jackson for me. I think that's the ceiling. We just saw the kid's ceiling. I think that's a ceiling. I don't know if it's going to get much better than that. I would really have a hard time taking Lamar Jackson here over Patrick Mahomes if you're going to take a quarterback. I don't know if I want to double up at running back. I don't know that I trust Kenyon Drake. I know that everything, if you look back at Kenyon Drake, everything that Kenyon Drake did once he was traded was everything everybody thought Kenyon Drake would do in Miami. It just took him quite a while to get to, I guess, that spot where he could flourish. It's hard to turn down Keenan Allen, who's a production monster, but you don't know who is going to be throwing him passes at this point. I'm going to take a gamble here. I'm going to take Mahomes early because I think that this is maybe the best shot I've got to grab one of the top quarterbacks in the league because I think there's enough value at other positions to fill out my roster.
Who am I to argue that one?
So I think with him taking that quarterback, the barrels are just keep on tumbling there. And in my position with 10 more picks to my next pick, I think I will follow that up with another quarterback selection here. And I will go Lamar Jackson.
All right. So at the 6th pick in the 3rd round, I mean, now Mike Evans is looking a little more tempting, but I'm still going to pass on him. The 2 wide receivers that I'm most intrigued about this year are Allen Robinson and Sutton. I think I'm going to take Sutton here and trust Drew Lock.
All right, Ben. Pick
Right
27.
Yeah, I'm looking here at 7. I'm not going to touch Drake either, and I'm still not going to mess with, Evans. I'm following the trend here. I do really like Robinson a lot, but I'm not going receiver. I am actually going to go with Miles Sanders. I'm going to double up and double back.
Like it.
So I'm up now at pick 28th overall. I had Sutton in my queue since we started this thing. And then Ben scooped him up right before me. So with a minute and a half left, I'm kind of scrambling here. And I know it's shocking, but there's no way I feel comfortable taking Evans since I already have Godwin, 2 receivers on the same team. Is that weird to draft 2 guys from the same team? I think so, and I don't really want any part of it.
Not if you get Brady.
True. That could be something I could look into. But at this pick, I'm gonna go Drake. Looking like 50, 60 receptions this season and full point PPR. It is what it is. You guys hated on him, and we'll see.
I love that. This is the time to go get Drake in the draft.
I love Drake. If Eckler weren't there, I would have taken him.
All right. On the clock, round 3, pick 29. Mike Evans is still there. I like Mike Evans over any of the receivers. Juju, Allen, Thielen. I like Thielen a lot. He's going to get the offense opened up a little bit. I don't think Cousins will have as much pressure to spread the ball around. So I'm going to take Thielen here at wide receiver if I didn't accidentally hit Robinson. All right, good.
You're good. You got Adam.
Cool. Sweet.
Chris, that was a good pick though, taking Drake there because you didn't have a run. That was your first running back pick, right? I mean, that would
absolutely, yeah.
What I said about him, I think that for me, for a running back too, there was more value than just taking Drake. I already had one running back that I'd taken off the board.
All right.
True.
This is the time for Mike Evans to get off the board. We don't know what Tampa Bay is going to do. We have some elite options there, but there is some question marks with what's going to happen with the quarterback situation in Chicago. Man, you know what? I'm gonna throw this out there, and I'm gonna take Juju just as a wild card. I was leaning towards Mike Evans. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, Juju's up there at the top. Yeah, man, he was a top 5 wide receiver with Ben at the helm. They didn't really add anybody that's going to change that situation. I think we saw his lowest of lows last season, and he's going to get back in good form this year. Next pick, Zach Ertz. He's just so much better than everybody else here. Want to stay in the top tier at tight ends.
You're not worried about Goddard?
I'm not worried about Goddard. And I think if Ertz moves teams, if anything, it's a better situation for him. And I can totally see him being traded after the season.
I'm glad you took Juju. He's your problem. Personally, I want nothing to do with him this season, so I'm glad you made the decision for me.
What's the issue with Juju? Because last year was such a nightmare.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to be that guy, but was it really something that AB wasn't there? So that's the oldest trick in the book. It's low-hanging fruit to say, well, Antonio Brown was there, and when he was gone, defenses were able to just hammer home Juju. So I don't know. I wish him the best. I'm glad he's on your team.
Look, let's be honest. From a straight football standpoint, Antonio Brown, you can't man cover the guy. That's what he's best at. You can't man cover the guy. So you have to play like quarter, half or something like that, and it frees up wide receiver number 2. The other part of that is certain guys are not wide receiver number 1s, period. And they get moved in by default to a wide receiver number 1. So I could see that argument.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about that pick immediately. You guys put me in my place. But he's mine now.
All right, Austin on the clock.
So for me here, I feel like I can scoop up a wide receiver later. Or not a wide receiver, a running back here later on with having 3 wide receiver slots, I think I'm going to go Robinson here and just kind of double down on receivers, just so I can shore those spots up. Anything can happen in the NFL. Injuries are huge, so if I can shore those spots up now, I'll be happy later on.
Well, as it stands now, I'm on the clock. Pick 33 overall. It's we're round 4. I'm already loaded at wide receiver. I got 1 running back that I think can do well. And if you look at the screen, it's just a litany of wide receivers. Hilton, I want nothing to do with. I am a fan of Keenan Allen. So do I reach for a running back here because I don't have a pick for 20 turns? You know what I mean? So I'm going to get a little wild, and I'm going to draft Devin Singletary here. Much like, I don't want to compare him to your Jacobs pick, but I feel like they have the same kind of pedigree. And I think that Buffalo and Singletary are going to open it up this season. And with Brady out of Tampa Bay, I think it's Buffalo's division to take. Let's feed Singletary. Draft.
I love that pick.
So I'm actually going to go way off script. I don't
Tom Brady?
No, not Tom Brady. I don't like any of the wide receivers I'm looking at currently right now.
I know, me either.
Yeah, not a fan of the tight ends I'm looking at either. But there is a guy who I actually am really fond of. So I'm going to go ahead and take DJ Shark. He played great.
Oh.
He played great with Minshew last year. And now that Foles isn't in the picture, he's just going to get targeted a lot more. So I'm going to take DJ Shark.
I like that selection. I whispered Calvin because I know you're a Falcons fan.
Nah.
Unless they sign Cam Newton and just Cam can't throw to anybody.
So David, it's you. Round 4, pick 35.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted now, even though I'm not a fan of Mike Evans, to take him. This is a good value here, but I'm going to still pass. Damian Williams here, we know I'm a big supporter of him. I'm going to pass, but I think I'm going to take a small reach and take Cooper Kupp, who's a PPR monster.
That is who I wanted. All right. Good pick.
Now we're cooking.
Let's just say I hope Mike Evans doesn't watch this video because I think there's a sense of disrespect at parts. But I am going to pass over him again. And we saw what Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown did last year. So I'm hoping some reoccurrence coming this year. So I'm going to take A.J. Brown right here.
At this point, so for those of you that are watching, we're like midway through the 4th round, and Mike Evans is still up there. So at this point, I think it's just like no one can draft him. Just let it ride. It's like out of spite, maybe.
I don't think spite is the right word there.
No, we've all dug in. We've all shit on Mike Evans at one point. Now we can't.
The crazy thing is, there's a lot of good value on the board right now. Like, there's still a lot of really good players on the board.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of great players on the board, right? So
I'm going to stop the shitting on Mike Evans and roll the toilet paper out, if you will. I'm going to take him because I'm going to take Mike Evans. I think it's gone long enough, and now I think here in the 4th round, this is a good enough value here for Mike Evans for me to pick him as an upside play, as a wide receiver too. I've already got you talk about Cooper Kupp being a PPR monster. I mean, Michael Thomas, nobody has more receptions than this guy in the last few years. So I think the upside of what it could be warrants me taking him here. There's enough value on the board still at the running back position for me to look for running back elsewhere and still get a nice slot type wide receiver number 3.
Had to be done.
So, Mike, if you are watching the video, please
send me an autograph.
Him if you didn't, so he would have been off the board anyway. But I'm just kind of looking down the top few that are left, and I think I'm gonna fill up my 2nd running back slot by taking Damian Williams, even though he wasn't consistent all of last year, but we'll see.
Dang, right before me, I want to pick up Williams.
Sorry. Blame Jeremy for taking Evans.
Just an L on my part. Alrighty. Pick 9 here. I'm looking at running backs. We got Gurley, Bell, Johnson right on the board. I'm liking Todd Gurley. I am an Atlanta fan, so I'm glad we got him. I just worry about his knees. And then we got Ingram in Baltimore. But I liked Bell, but I think his production was a little less last year. But they haven't projected not that different from Gurley. But I am going to pick Bell because I think Sam Darnold, he's going to be hanging the ball off more to Bell and get him more, opening up that offense. So I'm picking Bell here at 9.
I like that pick because I honestly do. Like, if you read any of Ben or David's mock stuff, you can see that the Jets are going to go – they're going to go offensive tackle early, somewhat early in their draft. And I think that they're going to get Darnold a lot of help. So, in turn, that's going to help out. Good pick.
I think the thing that's going to help the most with is if you look at what Le'Veon Bell did not do last year is catch the ball out of the backfield. And if you look at what he did in Pittsburgh, he was very involved in the screen game. And that has 100% to do with how bad that offensive line is. You upgrade the offensive line, you get him involved in the screen and swing game. I like that pick a lot.
All right, I'm on the clock here. I've got 2 running backs down, 1 wide. So probably looking at the second wide receiver right now.
Mike Evans is gone.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. In the 4th round. Wow.
I would go Lockett here, but I feel like that might interfere with my next pick.
All right, well,
I love Calvin Ridley.
You gave it away.
Yeah. I love Calvin Ridley here as Atlanta's wide receiver too, just because he complements Jones so well. I think it was the Antonio Brown Juju comparison that was made. They just feed off of each other much. So I'm super high on Calvin Ridley here, and that's where I'm going to go.
Ooh.
And I kind of gave it away, but I think for a third running back to have Chris Carson is setting me up for a really good situation. So
I think when you look back after the conclusion of the season at the average place people were taking, Calvin Ridley is going to be a guy where you're going to be like, man, this guy was drafted 4th, 5th, 6th round. I think he's going to pay. I think he's going to have more of a 1st or 2nd round season.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I just like Chris Carson because Seattle's so efficient at running the ball. I don't trust Atlanta just because of what Devontae Freeman did last year. David Johnson in Houston is a committee backfield. I don't know what Duke Johnson's going to do, so I just like Chris Carson here.
Nice.
I'm still
Tyler Lockett.
I'm still shocked Duke Johnson is in the league. He gets no coverage, yet he's like the definition of a better real life player, kind of, than he is fantasy.
Definitely.
All right. Second pick of the 5th round, we got looking for wide receiver. I'm glad you get pick Lockett because I was all waiting for Lockett on this pick. So I'm going for Lockett.
Another guy they pay no attention to. He's got an absolutely gamer stud quarterback in Russ Wilson.
What was great about Tyler Lockett, at least last season, is he was very, very easy to predict based on his matchups. I found that at least in daily fantasy, if Tyler Lockett was supposed to have a good day, Tyler Lockett had a good day. And if he was supposed to have a shit day, he had a shit day. He was one of the more reliable receivers that you knew whether or not to plug him in your lineup or not. So at least he was one of the better people to have on your roster.
Sorry to be rude, Adam, but we're gonna have to edit out your entire draft because you keep swearing. You don't know if there's little kids watching, so we're just going to enter a CPU robot face on your thing.
Just do the Jerry Springer beeps.
Completely kidding, by the way.
We don't have that kind of technology.
Yeah.
I am, although Gronk did pop up on my queue, I am going to get my QB1 off because I had 11 leagues last year, and Deshaun Watson was definitely one of my favorite quarterbacks to start. So just gonna snag him.
I'll shoot you a trade offer because he was next on my list.
Ha ha ha.
All right, so where are we at? We're in the 5th round.
Yep. 44th overall, middle of the 5th round.
On paper, I'm going to reach, but I don't feel like I'm reaching. And I'm going to go running back 2 here, and I'm going to go with the guy that was clearly through the last quarter of the season, top 2 running back. Derrick Henry, obviously, everybody's going to say he was 1, but Raheem Mostert, this guy's, if you haven't seen, I've seen him in person. This guy is probably one of the most explosive guys outside of Alvin Kamara. He is just a beast and packs a punch. I'm going to go with him. I think that with the rotation they have, he's able to stay healthy. I think he's a 1,000-yard rusher, and he's a red zone guy. They like him in the red zone, and that's what you need in fantasy.
That's actually a great pick because they're floating around trading Breida right now. So
they just don't. Breida is he's a pass catching running back. He's a really good he's a Deuce Staley type back from back in the day, right? He's not an every down running back. I think that'd be a good idea for them to trade him. But what are you going to get? 5th round pick for him?
Maybe.
True.
Coleman's being floated around too.
He's one of the most frustrating people to own. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Middle conversation. So pick 5, round 5, we've got Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, Robert Woods, OBJ, a couple tight ends here on the queue. I mean, not on the queue, but that are coming up. But one guy I've had in my queue for the whole draft and someone I'm really liking in his new team is Stephon Diggs. So I'm going to go ahead and take him right now.
It's a great pick.
All right, so for the 5th in the 5th round, since I got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers already, I'm going to go in the next crop of the tight ends now here, and I'm going to go with Waller. He's the most reliable target right now for the Raiders. 90 balls, 1,000 yards. He just needs to get in the end zone a little bit more, but I can feel safe and happy with the tight ends I'm getting here compared to Kittle and Kelsey.
Makes sense.
All right, so the guy who I was going to take, the wide receiver, just got taken with Stephon Diggs. So I'm going to have to look somewhere else real quick.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm actually going to go Debo. I'm going to go Debo Samuel.
Debo.
I really like what he's doing out in San Francisco. I think he's going to be a powerhouse next year.
So I'm up, pick 48, kind of the end of the 5th round. So I'm up again in 4 picks, and then I have to wait another 20. So I'm going to try and talk you through this process here. So I have 2 stud wide receivers. I got two good running backs, no quarterback, no tight end. So can I fill my 3rd wide receiver spot, or toss in another running back as a flex guy? So I'm going to get ahead of the curve here and draft the guy that I want in hopes that when it's my pick in 4 picks, I can just head up, go back above the my Q board. So I'm going to take DK Metcalf here.
I like it.
I floated with Metcalf. I like him. He's just got that Terrell Owens body style. He's just a stud.
1 year under his belt.
I honestly didn't think he would make it back this far. So that's why
the funniest thing about DK Metcalf is you actually needed a thumbnail done with Metcalf on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you try to grab an image of DK Metcalf, you literally can't find an image of him playing because it's every image of him with his shirt off.
Yeah.
So I'm
Who's having the party?
You hear the Trolls movie? Told y'all Trolls is going to be on. Yeah. So pick 49 here. I'm locked up at wide receiver. And wide receivers are running the board. I'm not going quarterback just yet. I'm going to share my running back 2 with a guy I really like. He carried me a lot. Inconsistent, but half the season he was putting up 20 points a week. So I'm going Marlon Mack here if I can find him.
So he's down a little bit.
Yeah.
I was looking at him as my next selection too. That's a nice pick. Everyone sleeps on him, but I hate that term sleeps on. I mean, he does what he does and people don't pay attention.
All right, Odell Beckham's fallen far enough. We don't know if he'll be in Cleveland. We don't know if he'll be elsewhere. But fantasy's all about risks if you want to win the league, and I think my team is going to be full of risks. But yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. here. He probably should have gone around earlier. And at running back, Todd Gurley. You thought he was in a committee? I don't think he's in a committee. If anything, there are a bunch of other injury-prone backs in Atlanta. He may end up having the whole backfield to himself as a workhorse for a lot of the season. This is the time to go get Gurley. He's just the best available.
Yeah, Todd Gurley's in for a good year. He isn't very good. And Brian Hill's tiny. So Gurley's going to get the bulk load of the carries over there.
I don't think you could have done that any better. If you think about it, you could do so much worse than Odell Beckham. And could it get any worse than it was last year? And he still had 74 catches and a 1,000-yard season. He just didn't have touchdowns. So if that's the baseline of how bad it is, and then with Gurley, if he's in a running back by committee situation, which is the worst it could possibly be, he's got to be their default red zone guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty locked up right now. I'm going on pick 52. All right, so I'm on the swing of round 6. I can't do the math. I got a lot of picks before I pick again. I know I said it earlier. I'm a Cardinals, but there's not really any bias here. I really think we're looking at, a perennial MVP candidate in Kyler Murray. Very excited for season 2. Was amped about year 1. So I'm gonna go Kyler here, and I'm questioning the dual player on the rosters, from the one team, but I feel like he's the right pick right now.
I was hoping he'd drop a couple more.
So here's my explanation. It's I'm in the 6th round, 53 overall. Much like Austin, we don't pick again for I believe it's got to be like 18 to 20 picks, right? I didn't want to call it a reach, but I definitely wanted to draft a quarterback here because I thought there was going to be a run. And sure as crap, Austin drafts one, and then I'm going to pick I think I'd like to draft Russell Wilson here and have that DK Russell connection here. I'm not really seeing, what am I going to do? Take a tight end here? Or, Keenan Allen sitting there's pretty juicy. But I think I'm going to play it safe. Actually, I'm going to take Russell Wilson here.
Good pick.
That's the safest pick in fantasy football every year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up behind you right here. I'm also going to take a quarterback, but I'm not taking Brady. He's just getting 43 years old. I'm not touching Brady. You don't know what's going on with Dak in Dallas right now, if he's even going to be the quarterback out there. I'm going to go with Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I knew it.
Yeah, I love the legs. I love the arm. I think it's especially with Diggs out there in Buffalo.
It's real quick. Sorry to cut you off, David. But we're in the 6th round, and the fantasy hardcore, the fantasy experts say wait on a quarterback. And the first thing that pops in my mind is, so I was able to draft a stud quarterback in the 6th round, and then I don't have to think about it. I'm free to draft positional players for basically the rest of the draft, and I can wait till one of my second to last picks for another quarterback. So if there's a guy that you want, take him, especially at a position like a quarterback position. It frees you up. It's off your mind, and you can do what you want. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a quarterback now since the run kind of started. I was aiming for Kyle Murray. I was going to wait after he got taken, but since the run's going, I'll take the risk, even though it pains me to say it, but I'll take Dak.
Ooh.
I know, it hurts.
I say, I have no factual information. I'm just, as a Detroit Lions fan, I just don't like Dallas. So anybody that plays on their team, I just don't want to own.
He is from my hometown and had no reason turning down $39 million.
That's crazy. I didn't hear too much about that story. He turned down $39 million contract?
I don't remember the years that was on the contract, but yeah, it was a $39 million contract.
Yeah, he wanted more money to pay off Amari Cooper instead, and now they're saying like re-signing him is not a priority.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get when you're act like a baby. Everyone's gonna get paid except him.
Guess that means Jordan Love's going to be Dallas's new quarterback next year.
Don't put it past Dallas to
I wouldn't
trade
mind
their draft away. Don't put it past Dallas to trade their draft away to move up and get. If they want a quarterback, they'll trade their draft away and move up. Don't put it past them. They can screw a draft up better than anybody.
You sure? I'm a Lions fan. We got Quinn and Patricia and Matt Millen.
But I would, for a different time. This is why we should do a podcast, because
absolutely,
I don't fault what happened in Detroit in the run they got on for Matt Millen. He took the best player on the board for a couple of straight years. It just happened to be wide receivers. The offensive coordinator situation was probably what. I mean, that was what screwed up their situation.
All right, we got 20 seconds. Let's get Sam's pick in.
All right, hopping in real quick. I'm going to jump in the tight end room. I'm going to take a guy who has freed up some space in his own tight end room up in Baltimore with Mark Andrews.
Can't go wrong there. He's being talked about as, potentially a top 3 guy at the end of the season as far as the tight end is concerned. I believe it.
So I think this is an interesting spot because I would like to take Gronk, but I don't want to pair Gronk with Mike Evans. I really would take Gronk here. I just think that a healthy Gronk coming back, I think this is a good spot to take Gronk, especially with what I've drafted already. But I don't want to pair him with Mike Evans. I guess I could try to trade Mike Evans, and you can make the case to take him here down the road. But I'm going with A.J. Green. He set the whole year out. This guy, we've got him at 64th. I'm at 58, right? 57th pick here. I'm taking A.J. Green. If he gets Joe Burrow is a real deal. He's had super athletic wide receivers at LSU. A healthy A.J. Green, I'm gonna fill up my receiver core there.
Here, I kind of looked down the board a little bit, not too far, but I was looking between Marv and Julian Edelman, but I already have Kenny Golladay, so I think I'm going to take the Patriots.
Alrighty. Picking 9 here from round 6. Going wide receiver. We still got Allen, Hilton, Woods, McLaurin on the board. And I'm gonna go with Woods. I think the Rams are gonna try to turn around with that logo, trying to get a fresh start. So I think the Woods.
The fight in LA.
Real quick, David got kicked out. Can you add him back in?
I did.
Yeah, I'm back in now.
Okay.
He took his shirt off. What did he want us to do? We had to kick him out.
I don't think anyone wants to see that, so I wouldn't do that to you guys.
All right, so Ethan, you're up again, back-to-back picks. Last pick of the 6th round, and then you get the first pick of the 7th. So, what are you thinking
here? So I've still got to fill out my 3rd wide receiver spot, which is where I'm looking right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would normally like Devontae Parker at this point of the draft, but there are a lot of guys falling, so I got to see what I'm looking at. There's Keenan Allen and T.Y. Hilton. The other guys don't really interest me. I think no matter who the quarterback is this year in Indianapolis, at this stage in the draft, even in the 6th round, T.Y. Hilton is who I would go to here. And then someone who's being slept on a lot for sure this year at running back is James Conner. I feel like at the point that he would be my 4th running back on my team, I feel like there's very little risk there and tons of upside if having Big Ben back makes all the difference and opens up the offense. I think Conner could have a huge season.
I mean, we can go into all the what ifs, coulda, shoulda, wouldas, but if you're taking him, then hopefully you don't see Pittsburgh drafting a running back early on, because that, from what I've read and all the silly research I've done, it's looking like that. But I trust him. Good pick.
It's obviously in play, and if that does happen and Pittsburgh drafts a running back, that would obviously change my evaluation.
All right, here with the turnaround, second pick of the 7th. I'm looking quarterback. Right now we got Brady, Wanks, Ryan, A-Rod, Breezes. I'm looking at A-Rod. He's a bad man. I think he can produce. I think he's getting late in his years. So I think Green Bay really needs to have a push against his time. So
you think he can throw 30 touchdowns this season? I mean, ESPN has him projected at, what was it, 26 or 27?
I think he can. I think he got Aaron Jones in the backfield. I think they're going to give him the rock, which is going to open up the passing lanes for A-Rod to pass. And we know that he can get some crazy fourth quarter comeback. So if he even gets that close. So.
Yeah, but the issue I'm having with Aaron is who's he really going to throw to? I mean, yeah, he's got Adams, but unless they draft a wide receiver really early, you really don't know what you're getting.
We're down to the 7th round now, so I think that I'm gonna snatch what everyone has passed on and take Keenan Allen.
Good pick. It's like you kind of had to there, he's just staring you in the face. 1,000-yard.
Yeah, I can't just
100 reception, 1,000-yard guy. I mean, have to be negligent if you did.
All right, so there's not a lot of top value left. I mean, now you're looking. I think we've kind of caught up, right? I think we've caught up to where.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really Jarvis Landry is probably the biggest name that's left on top of the board. I'm going to try to fill out my roster a little bit. I think there's plenty of good tight ends left where I don't need to go tight right now. I can kind of fill out some other spots on my roster. And I really would like to get another running back. I really like what Baltimore did. And if you watched any of our stuff last year, I was huge on Mark Ingram almost every week for the simple fact that Lamar Jackson is going to do what Lamar Jackson does. And he's going to take a lot of the rushing yards away from any running back there. They do have other running backs, but this guy's going to bang the ball between the tackles and the red zone guy. I think he's a good guy to have on your roster.
I agree. He's getting the carries. It's no mistake in that. Nothing earth-shattering as far as analysis is concerned.
So in round 7, I think I'm going to finish out my wide receiver room. There's a couple guys I'm looking at, but one guy whose ceiling to me is even greater going to be next season than it was this season, fully depending on the number 1 overall pick of the draft come Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and take Tyler Boyd.
Fantastic selection.
So with the 6th pick in the 7th round, I was hoping Keenan Allen fall a few more slots. I still need the 3rd wide receiver, but I got a little bit of a man crush on David Johnson to bring up for my flex spot. He's got the starting job now again. Hopefully he's healthy. He can catch balls to Watson. I'm hopeful we'll dump it off to him, and I'm going to take David Johnson here.
So I'm going to go ahead and take the guy who I've been looking at for the last round. I'm glad the last 2 of you guys went totally different directions, but I'm taking Melvin Gordon.
Oof. This guy, he keeps stealing my picks right before me.
He's a wild card in Denver. I mean, the dude was a beast in San Diego. He didn't do anything but produce. I think I just got a steal.
Yeah, dude, he blowed it up the last 5 years. And then I think Denver just signed him to a 2-year deal, so I think that shows the commitment. I still like Patrick Lindsey, but I think he's the guy there.
So I'm up. It's the end of basically the end of the 7th round, 68th overall. Going in, I mean, we put check marks by guys that we like, and I for some reason, I would love the combination of Miles Sanders and David Montgomery, or even throw in Kerryon Johnson there. If I can get three of those guys, I think that would be great. You know, especially in PPR formats. I've said it a million times. I don't think Chicago knew what they were doing with David Montgomery last season. At the end of the year, however, everyone thought the same thing for Miles Sanders, and look how he finished out the year. He's being drafted in the second round. So I don't think it's the flyer, but I'm going to draft David Montgomery here in the 7th round, and hopefully he can catch 30, 35 passes, and Chicago knows what they're doing this season with him.
Does Chicago really know what they're doing, though?
No.
Still have Trubisky. Do they know what they're doing?
Unbelievable.
Hey.
I'm on the clock here. Pick number 69, round 7. You know, and me personally, I'm not a big tight end fan. If you can't get in the right spot at the right time, which is where Kittle and Kelsey went earlier on, I mean, I'll see you later on in the draft. So I'm strictly looking for depth here, and I want to kind of balance out my roster spot with running back, and just looking at the receptions. Just it is a PPR league, trying to move the needle forward there a little bit. I'm gonna go Kerryon Johnson.
You guys.
Okay, so you guys scooped up with the last few picks, the running backs. And I like to fill my flex spots with a running back, you know, because we're not going to have much room on the bench for guys that we know are going to play. So just as a rule, I like to put a flex in there, or a running back in the flex spot. That's probably not the best pick here, because there's a lot of good wide receivers on the board. Filling a flex spot here, Devontae Parker is going to be the best PPR player on the board. Yes, we know Preston Williams is back and he's healthy, and he may very well be the wide receiver 1 in Miami. We don't know. But Parker was fantastic. And nothing is for sure changing in Miami in the offense. Going to go Parker here for the flex. And then I have to get a quarterback before you guys scoop them all up. Drew Brees.
Tried and true.
No.
So Austin's back up the beginning of the 8th round, 72 overall. Looks like he put the trolls on mute, and he's ready to get down to business.
Trolls are done. Trolls are done. Again, I'm going to continue to build out the balance here. I'm going to go Michael Gallup at 72.
Good pick.
Okay.
Great pick.
So I feel like at this spot, the beginning of the 8th round, sorry to saying that I don't pick again for 20 picks or something, but when you took Gallup, you made the decision for me. I'm going to take Scary Terry in Washington. Young kid. I think he's going to get over 1,000 yards again, a handful of touchdowns. It'd be stupid if I didn't draft him here, and it looks like he will be able to. My flex spot is already filled, but I can take him and David Montgomery out. So I'm happy taking Terry here, 73rd overall.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with another guy who got 1,000 yards last year, with Jarvis Landry. Hopefully Baker will take that step. He's going to sit on my bench for a while, but I really still believe, in Jarvis Landry and what he can do.
Oh, well, all my picks are just flying off the board right now. I'm actually not 100% sure what to do here. I'm not in love with the pick, but he's fairly consistent. And with a healthy Matt Stafford, I'm going to take Marvin Jones as my 3rd wide receiver.
All right.
Yeah, like David, I think the last 3 picks were off my queue too. so I'm kind of sitting here with a question mark. But I am going to slide down a little ways and get somebody down in my queue. I'm going to go ahead and pick up, where did he go? Sony Michel.
Okay.
Interesting. You want to talk us through that?
Yes, Sony Michel off the board before James White.
Well, because Brady's gone, there's much confusion as behind to, is it going to be Stidham? Is it going to be someone they trade up for? But, Sony Michel is that youthful back, and I've always been a Sony Michel fan anyway. So with that question mark on my head, do it.
I think
and then James White was injured. He really stepped up, big time.
I think if New England really wanted to run the ball, they're not going with James White. They're definitely going to turn to someone who can actually run the football. And Sony Michel, I think, is a great pick. He's going to get most of the touches in the end zone, all the red zone carries. I think it's a great pick.
So here's where I'm going. I'm going to take a guy who had 4,000 yards in college. I think he's very underrated. I think that Brady going there gives him a ton of value at the running back position. He had a really good end of the season. You look what he did on only like 11 to 14 carries a game. I love Ronald Jones. I was waiting for him to drop this far to pick him up. So I'm going to take Ronald Jones here. I mean, the pedigree's there, right? The guy ran for 4,000 yards at a Pac-12 school. It's a Major 5 conference school. Really good success in Tampa Bay at the end of last year. So I think he
was top of my queue. I didn't think he was on anybody's radar.
Took right before.
I just think that that's another guy that's going to be, when you look back at redrafts and all this stuff, Ronald Jones will be a guy that will have first to third round value that gets taken in late rounds.
True.
All right. Well, since my flex, that was like my fourth flex option to go off the board, I am just gonna go for QB2, and I'm looking at my queue, and I'm stuck between my QB1 at heart, which is Matthew Stafford, of course, and going with Tom Brady because I know that he's got something to prove this year. And I think that he's going to do it just to give a big F you to Bill Belichick. So I'm going to have to go with that one.
Perfect explanation.
I think
if people don't go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
If people don't agree, then so what? It's not their team. It was her team and her thought process.
Tom Brady threw for 5,000 yards last year, and he had no wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So who cares that he's 43 years old? You just put him on a team with Godwin, Evans, Gronk. Come on.
Yeah, he's got weapons this year, and like I said, I think that he is going to just show everyone that he can and will find victory without the Patriots. So
in fantasy sports, we talk all the time about regression, right?
Uh-huh.
Where's the regression with Tom Brady? He threw for 4,000 yards with no wide receivers.
Spent nothing.
Alrighty. Round 8, pick 9. I'm looking at flex here. And we still got some Evan Ingram, Tyler Higbee, Henderson, Shepard, Crowder. I'm liking Shepard. The only thing with him is in New York, they're still gonna be feeding Barkley, and plus I already have Barkley on my team, so having two New York Giants on my team is not something I want. But then Gronk is still on the board here, and then thinking about taking that reach with Gronk, I think fully healthy. After taking a year off, he can really play. So I'm going to take a reach, and I'm going to actually pick up Gronk.
I don't think that's a reach.
No, not in
not
the
at
eighth
all.
round, but I mean, I could see why people would think that because he just signed like an hour ago, but you can see that the guy he's just a stud. I mean, that's what he does. So he'll be back in shape in no time, and I don't see an issue with it.
Well, I mean, he's been wrestling, so it's not like he hasn't been active.
He earned a title belt, I'm pretty sure.
Well, let's see. I would have gone Gronk or Brady, but both of those picks got taken. There are plenty of tight ends that I could go with later. I feel like my thought process is kind of the same. If you don't get one of the ones early, then just put it in the rear view until later on.
Absolutely.
For quarterback, I still haven't gotten a quarterback yet. But for me, a lot of these names feel the same in value. So I think I'm going to go 2 more picks without going quarterback or tight end, which leaves running back, and James White is sitting at the top of the board. I think that without a viable tight end option in New England, who else is there to check down to other than James White? I think he gets a lot of work this year. And then wide receiver, I know if I don't take him now, he's going to be gone before I have a chance to go again. I don't see anyone else. Emmanuel Sanders with Michael Thomas in New Orleans is going to be such a good wide receiver combination. I buy into it every bit. I think they make each other better, and I'm going to go Emmanuel Sanders.
Sneaky. I hadn't even thought of him.
All right. Second pick of round 9, I'm going for my backup quarterback. And for me, I'm just getting Stafford. I think he can healthy. He can really show out and perform. We still got Matt Ryan and Wentz on the board, but I think Stafford healthy can really ball out.
How you feeling about that, Chris?
I don't mind it at all. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but if I was going to draft a QB2, it'd be a lot later. If I keep 2 quarterbacks, the second one's I'm not going to draft one until, just before everything's said and done, but I can't knock Stafford. Missed half the season with a broken back, and I think we know he can put up quarterback 1 number, so it's a nice selection.
So I am gonna finally go for that flex. I'm just gonna go for a 3rd running back, since there's still plenty of wide receivers on the board, and I'm gonna go with Darrell Henderson because he projected to do well this season.
I mean, I like the pick. I think they drafted him to replace Todd Gurley, and now that Gurley's out of the picture, I think he does have an opportunity to have a really good season.
Absolutely.
I'm going to quote Denzel Washington, and I'm going to take John Brown's hind parts. I think this is – you're big on Buffalo, right? I mean, you think this is going to be a –
Finally, yeah, I
Buffalo.
think so. Yeah.
If Buffalo is going to have anything, this guy's going to make plays down the field. I think this is a good spot to take him, especially for what I have already on my roster. There's a lot of good tight ends on the board. I haven't taken a tight end yet, but I'm going to take Brown here and hope I can come back and still get value with the tight end.
Can't blame you there.
I think I'm going to go back-to-back running back here. I've got a guy whose running mate got picked early, but I'm pretty sure he tied with Jamal Adams in receiving touchdowns last year, so I'm going to go with Jamal Williams here.
All right, I'm going to say there's a few options here at pick 6 here, but I think I'm going to take Hollywood Brown here. He's healthy from his foot injury. We saw the numbers he put up in the playoffs. I think he went like 11 catches for 140 yards. You keep up with this speed. We've seen what Tyreek Hill can do, and with Lamar Jackson and his arm, I think it could be a good combo.
And Lamar Jackson was talking today and said that he was expecting to be running the ball a lot less and passing the ball a lot more this season, this afternoon. So that's an immediate bump in value if he's being real.
So,
Benny boy.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Kareem Hunt right here. I think he's pretty good value right now. He's going to get a lot of receptions. He got a lot of receptions last year. Put the time perfectly with Chubb in that backfield. I think it's a good option.
So I've scrolled all the way down. We're at the tail end of round 9, 88th overall. Someone just drafted Darrell Henderson. I love Justin Jackson just as much. I think he's going to get a ton of work. I know it's cliche, but he's going to get a lot of, receiving yards out of the backfield. So I love the pick, and wait till what I got next. I'm picking in 3 more turns.
Y'all don't like Malcolm Brown as the running back, maybe splitting time? He got a lot of time last year with Gurley.
Yeah, he did.
Picking up here at 89 into round 9. Aside from tight end, defense, and kicker, my starters are set, but I'm going to continue with the value of tight ends that we have on the board still. I want to continue to go in the depth route. I missed out on getting Melvin Gordon a few rounds ago, but I still like Phillip Lindsay in that offense. I like what Phillip Lindsay brings to the table. So I'm going to continue with the depth and go Phillip Lindsay here.
All right, since I get 4 minutes and I don't want to talk for 4 minutes, does anybody want to just chime in now or have anything to say as like a break?
Well, of the running backs on the board left, I've already got 5, so at this point I don't plan on drafting any more. I'm surprised no one's taken Jordan Howard yet. I feel like with Miami.
He's a starting running back.
Yeah, you're right. He's still on the board. I need a running back. I only have 2 on my roster, and we are running out of them. Jordan Howard is definitely someone to consider. This is a PPR league, and Jordan Howard has not proven himself a capable pass catcher. Besides the fact he's probably going to not be starting in Miami after the draft. Chris Thompson isn't there in Washington anymore. Darius Geis is the guy on 3rd downs, and he may, with an injury to AP, be the high-end RB2, low-end RB1, if he's let loose with that whole backfield. So for a bench running back, Darius Geis is the best guy on the board right now. And then I'm getting what I feel like is the steal of the whole draft, and in Brandon Cooks. Again, on the bench, he could be a high-end wide receiver too, in Houston. He's the top guy for Deshaun Watson. He gets hurt, but let's see what he can do.
I like the Cooks pick. I think that Cooks that he's going to be the move the chains wide receiver for them. He's going to be the guy that is possession to possession, moving the chains. They've got other weapons there. Obviously, they've got a big play threat. They've got a couple of tight ends. They've got other pieces around the quarterback. But I like that pick because he reminds me of, if you want to flash back and go really back in the day, the role he could play on this team is like a Wayne Corbett type role where he just gets a million receptions for 10 to 12 yards and moves the chains down the field.
Very true. I haven't heard Wayne Corbett's name in years.
I wanted to sound smart.
So Austin's back up. I believe this is the first pick of the 10th round, 92nd overall.
First pick of the 10th round. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do here. I was actually, looking at Cooks for the turnaround, so that was a nice pick. I like that a lot. So I'm just gonna play it safe. This may be the earliest I've ever drafted a tight end, but I'm gonna take the safe route and just take Jared Cook. He's with Breeze, and he's gonna get value there.
I was thinking the same thing because I got in a wormhole while you guys were talking and drafting, and I had to wait 30 picks. But I was scrolled all the way down, and then I realized I had the player. It was only on running backs. I thought Tariq Cohen is the next highest projected guy in what's going on. He's going to be another PPR monster. But do I want to draft Cohen? And then how good of I wouldn't go around saying, hey, I got the Chicago Bears backfield locked down on my team. It's not really the coolest thing. So I'm going to take Noah Fant here. 600, 700 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. If everybody's as high on Drew Lock as what he's supposed to do, then I'll take a tight end here and call it a day.
So
Ben was telling me to shut up, so I think I know what he's going to do here.
You've been taking my picks all night. Or I've been taking your picks all night, I should say, so I guess you're going to take one of mine. I'm actually going to take Christian Kirk. I think him in that slot out there in Arizona is bound.
That's a real good pick.
I think that's a steal. You know, Christian Kirk's going to put monster numbers out there in Arizona.
I'm going to continue to go with another wide receiver. He finally stepped up big, last couple of weeks for Tampa Bay, and now he's going to be, as of right now, the number 1 receiver for the Jets, and take Rashad Perriman.
Nice.
And Christian,
that's a steal.
That's a really good pick, man.
He's somebody everyone should target in the late rounds. High ceiling for somebody in the late rounds.
I'm going to have a little fun with it here. I'm going to take a guy who was at Clemson for like 10 years, graduated as like a 9th-year senior, now with the Raiders. I'm going to go Wilder.
No.
They can't
Renfro. Hunter Renfro is the pick. Just know I'm keeping track of like what you guys are saying as far as get this guy late in the round. I'm making a list, and I'll be able to turn it into a nice little article for us tomorrow.
So
to go with our roundtable.
I've waited long enough to go to the tight end position, hoping that I'd get to this spot. 4 years in the league, most productive year last year, gets to move. If this roster stays intact the way it is, it's one of the best skill sets offensively in the league with Beckham, Jarvis Landry. They're solid at running back. And look, I love Austin Hooper here. I love the move. I think he's going to continue to be productive. You said this is a PPR league. This guy, you get 75 catches out of your tight end. There's one word to me, that's winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on my queue, I should go Sterling Shepard this pick, but I'm kind of looking down at the Westbrook with all of the stuff kind of going on down there and Fournette likely not staying. Curious as to how many targets he'll be seeing, so I'm just gonna take a chance on that one.
All right, out here with the guy picking round 10 here. I'm looking for my backup running back, and right now we got Cohen, Scott, Howard, Hines on the board. And I'm looking all over just for Howard. He's projected to get just over 158 and in PPR, and about still 5 touchdowns. But I think as a backup, can be solid just in case Le'Veon just catch as many passes as I expect him to. So I'm going with Howard for this pick.
Well, it's nuts. You took a starting running back in the 10th round. I mean, I love that pick.
Geez, for wide receiver, I would have gone either Kirk or Renfro here, but those guys got taken. So now I'm kind of thinking on the fly a little bit.
You're welcome.
Robbie Anderson, who's right now the wide receiver 2 for Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bridgewater's a huge upgrade from obviously Kyle Allen last year. I think the offense could be super high powered. The question is whether or not CMC makes for too many mouths to feed. The other way I would look here, if I could find him, I don't know if Brashad Perriman is the wide receiver 1 in New York. I think Jamison Crowder also has a case to be made. I feel like he's super safe and consistent is what you're going to get week to week.
Quincy Anunwa is still there too, and he just goes about his business. Not going to win that many games, but he can catch 10 passes in a game a couple times a year.
For sure. I do think Robbie Anderson is the bold pick here, and it's where I'm going to go.
I like that pick too. I think a lot of the Jets wide receiver talk about who's 1, 2, it's yet to be defined yet. It's going to be figured out, OTAs and stuff like that. So I don't think Robbie Anderson's a reach star. It's a nice pick, actually.
I agree. And I mean, he was hiding on a bad team last year in New York. I think that Carolina gives him a really good chance to show out.
Agreed.
So now I think it's the time where I want to start addressing my tight end. I see
you got
Hunter
some really
Henry
good ones still.
Yeah, for sure. I see Hunter Henry on the board, and I just think that even with Tyrod at quarterback, it might even help him. I feel like Hunter Henry is just one of those guys that's unaffected based on whoever is the quarterback. I've already got Eckler on the team, but I don't mind the stack there.
A quick question. Are you guys scared or nervous to draft Evan Ingram?
Yes.
The Giants tight end?
Little.
No.
Why?
He can't stay
he can't stay healthy. Not they're looking to trade him. I don't know what's going on, but he goes from being like a top 10 tight end, and now we're in the 11th round and still nothing. So it's like, not to sound like an idiot, but it's kind of like a Mike Evans thing. I mean, I know they're not the same skill set, but Evan Ingram is still. And look, I'm not drafting him either. I was just trying to gauge everybody else.
We're on bench spots here, and we have 3 open wide receivers, and it's just he's not going to get as many points, just like in sheer number of points as you're going to get from somebody who's playing every down at wide receiver.
We're all looking at it the same way too, as we all aren't valuing the tight end position unless you're going to get one of those top 3 guys. We're just not.
Absolutely.
I'm not big on Evan Ingram, period. I've never been big on Evan Ingram. And my whole thing would be cover 2. You've got Odell Beckham, and that's his best year. He's got 64 receptions in 15 games. Yes, then you could say reason number 2 that is the obvious reason, I guess, if you want to look at it, it's that can he stay healthy? But you don't have other you've got Golden Tate there, right? You've got Sterling Shepard. Who's the big play threat that loosens up coverage when you could bracket this kid and you could settle for letting Daniel Jones throw the ball underneath to Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard. I mean, you're more worried about Saquon Barkley out of the backfield than you are Evan Ingram if you're game planning against the Giants, my opinion.
I had him his end zone looks have been gone since Barkley showed up.
All right. So quickly here, I just picked Sterling Shepard with my pick. Just going off, you practically just said what I was saying. He's just Daniel Jones is going to be throwing underneath to Shepard, and he's going to get some catches, especially when he stays healthy. And that's just why I picked Sterling Shepard, and I need to get a backup wide receiver.
I am gonna go with a second tight end now, just to have on the bench. It wouldn't be most people's first pick. That's probably why he's not going till the 11th round. I'm gonna go with Hawk just because I want to see what he can do if he stays healthy and if Stafford is healthy all year. I want to see what he can do, even though, obviously we're set with receivers.
Showing your real fandom there.
He's the next guy to, in my opinion, he's the next guy to enter the George Kittle, Travis Kelce conversation. The guy's a freak of nature, had a great college tight end. I think that this guy, healthy, he's the next guy to enter the conversation.
And Chris, that's only my second Lion on my roster, so.
I wasn't making fun. I was just saying, well, you're showing your fandom. I love the Lions too. He was actually on my queue. I would have highly considered him with pick 108.
I won $10,000 with Hawk, by the way, this year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
The first game of the season?
Was that a 3-touchdown game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just big on him coming out because he was a really good tight end at the University of Iowa. He's a really good tight end.
I've seen him play a few times in Ann Arbor, and then I've saw him 2 or 3 times downtown Detroit.
I don't really want to go tight end here. I don't really want to. Really, I'd like to just, if this was PlayStation, I might just rage quit because I'm kind of like, I don't want to pick anybody anymore. But I've got to take somebody. So at this spot, I think I'm going to go backup quarterback. And there's really pick of the litter left, right? I mean, there's a lot of guys who have thrown for a lot of yards here. A guy that I think is going to rebound this year, you take Todd Gurley out of the picture. The Rams, they built their franchise around Jared Goff. And the guy's a 4,000-yard quarterback. I like Goff a ton here. I think that if they make the playoffs last year, his value is probably a little higher coming into the season. But I think the Rams rebound. It's a very sophisticated offense they run. They get on people. They can score a lot of points. They just didn't have that great of a season, and rightfully so. Most teams don't coming out of a Super Bowl run.
Absolutely.
Round 11, Deontay Johnson led Pittsburgh as a rookie in receptions. And I think with Big Ben getting healthier this year, I'm going to go ahead and take him right
here. I think I'm going to look at a backup tight end here. I don't mind Evan Ingram. I actually like him probably better than everyone else, but I actually am going to not select him. I really like Tyler Higbee here a lot. I like what he did at the end of the season. I think he could be one of the more focal points that Goff likes with Kupp. I have Kupp already, but I think on a bye week, this would be a good backup here.
Yeah, I'm going to go tight end too, and I'm actually going to let my fan base show just a little bit. We lost a tight end this offseason. Austin, a lot of points were given up there, but I think Hayden Hurst is just as good if he can stay on the field. And Atlanta knows how to use their tight ends. So I'm going to go with Hayden Hurst to go ahead and fill my tight end spot.
It's a great pick. I think you have to trust the team that gave Austin Hooper all those targets and all those yards, and I think no reason to believe they can't do something similar with Hurst.
Exactly.
If you own Julio Jones or Calvin Ridley, I think you hope that they don't use the tight end like they use Austin Hooper.
It didn't affect them though last year, though.
Correct.
So as it stands now, we're in at the tail end of round 11. I'm up 108th overall. This is when I get a pick and then a quick turn and I get another pick. So what I wanted to do was do, some handcuffs, not handcuffs to me, but just back up running backs and hope they hit. Then I was scrolling down and I see that Mecole Hardman, Kansas City wide receiver, just sitting there in the 11th round. So I'm going to grab him and hope all the sleeper talk hits for me.
Get the old mute off. So I feel real good about my roster right now. I feel confident where I'm at. I don't want to reach for a defense yet, and I don't really want to reach for a backup quarterback yet. So I'm going to roll the dice and pray for health. And I'm going to take Will Fuller here. He really could be a guy if he was healthy. So I'm going to take Will Fuller at pick 109, round 11, and pray for good health.
Best you can do. I wouldn't mind having him on my team. It just makes you want to tear your hair out, and I don't have any to begin with.
I'm ball too, bro.
All right. Well, if I pass on Ingram and then lose Ingram and Doyle, there's basically going to be a whole different group of people and tight ends left. I'm not going to have anybody to replace tight ends on a bye week or if I have an injury. I've got to take Ingram here. He's fallen far enough. And God, I feel bad because they're taking players that are ranked highest, but again, Jamison Crowder, very reliable slot man. He may be the number one. Well, you said he was the number one guy on the Jets, possibly. I think that there are two number one guys on the Jets. I mean, Perriman and Crowder, but they're different kind of receivers. Perriman's going to be the deep threat, and if they can protect Darnold long enough for him to make it down the field, Perriman will get the ball. But running those short, intermediate routes, Crowder's going to get the ball a lot. He's a great fill-in wide receiver for bye weeks. I'm going to go Jamison Crowder.
What's the team you follow, Adam?
I'm a Chiefs
your favorite. Fan. You're a Chiefs fan, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I got really lucky this year.
Yeah, you did. I think you're the first Chiefs fan I've ever met that didn't shove it in my face right off the
bat. I have shit to shove it in your face, but
I thought you were an East Coast guy.
Oh, I live on the East Coast, but
you do, okay.
Kansas City and had season tickets, and yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's good. You're a Chiefs fan. Now I can get my player rankings from him.
I'm gonna look at backup tight end here because we are coming down to the wire, and I got some good balance. I don't like Ingram was great before Barkley showed up, but Barkley's there, and Ingram doesn't score anymore. I like Dallas Goedert here. I think there's enough to feed him and Ertz, and he really showed out a few times last year. So I'm going to take him as the backup tight end.
So as it stands now, I'm up again. The start of the 12th round, 113th overall. My queue is all messed up. My home screen is all wasted. I've scrolled way too far down. But I really do. I think people, you look at the Cowboys, and it's Zeke, and Dak. But as the season went on, Kellen Moore, old backup quarterback for the Lions, they've started to write in some plays for Tony Pollard. I like Tony Pollard here as a flyer, especially in a PPR league. It's late enough in the draft where it's not going to kill my team, and there is some upside here. Second-year guy, backing up Zeke. I know Zeke stays healthy, so it's not like your starting running back is injury-prone, but I'm taking Pollard here. It's a gut feeling, and that's where I'm at here.
I'm going to take a guy who we've actually mentioned the Giants quite a bit here, but it's the one guy we haven't talked about. I'm actually going to take Darius Slayton. I think he's that big weapon downfield. He's going to catch all those touchdowns from Daniel Jones, especially in the red zone. He put up 740 yards last year with 8 touchdowns. I think he's just going to get better. So I'm going to take Darius Slayton.
What's on your nose?
So at this point here, I only have 3 running backs. I mean, so the depth here is not very good, and there's really not much there. But I think I'm going to go with Tyreek Cohen. I'm a huge David Montgomery fan, but what Cohen does as a receiver this late, if he gets me 4 catches and 40 yards on a bye week in the flex spot, I'm getting 8 to 10 points. I'll take it at this point.
Solid analysis.
Right here, I'm going to go ahead and get a second back behind James Conner up in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with Jalen Samuels.
Hey, you got to handcuff James Conner. He's one of those backs.
Absolutely. I mean, I've mentioned him in some of my writings, and it's like he's one of those guys you feel bad trashing because you never met him. He's got a solid work ethic. He's just a good dude. So I feel like an asshole when I talk bad about him. But real life and our fantasy lives, you got to have a backup plan. So we're in the 12th round. Towards
you
the
took a
back
flyer.
end. Jeremy's up.
You took a flyer with Pollard, right?
Correct.
I'm going to take a flyer at tight end as my second tight end here. And the reason I'm taking this guy is there may not be a lot left in the tank, but I like the city that he's in. I like the team that he's on. I believe you took the quarterback here in Russell Wilson. I'm going to take Greg Olsen. I just think the guy's got something he wants to play for. He's had a hard time staying healthy with the foot. We know that, but Seattle hasn't had a tight end that they could really rely upon since Jimmy Graham, and that was really the one season only that he was really productive. So I'm going to take a flyer on Olsen.
I'm not questioning what you do, but if given the chance between Will Dissly and Olsen, I would go Will Dissly, but who am I to judge your pick?
Flyer.
Okay.
They re-signed Hollister, I believe, yesterday too. So they want these guys.
But if you sign, let me ask you this: if you go get Greg Olsen at this point in his career, and you re-sign, you have Dissly, and you re-sign Hollister, are you looking to? I mean, it's a Bill Belichick type signing, right? It's if Greg Olsen shows up to training camp and he's in great shape and he looks like the old Greg Olsen, I just stole a premier tight end in the league.
Yeah. All right.
I am going to go for Golden Tate. He missed the beginning of the season last year because of that drug screen. But he came back with a bang, and I mean, I know that he's kind of got to compete for some of those targets, especially with Darius Slayton and so on, but I want to see what he can do this year.
All right. So picking 12th round with the 9th pick, I'm looking for another bench wide receiver. And I'm looking at Williams or Samuel here, but I'm looking mainly at Williams. He was injured for most of the year last year, but I think he's definitely going to be coming back healthy, and he was getting some passes. So I'm going to take him here and pray that he gets better now that he's healthy.
Mike Williams or Preston Williams?
Preston Williams.
I think he's got an outside shot at 1,000 yards. I mean, 800 is not crazy to think.
So with the Miami receivers, you gave me a lead in. I'm actually not going to take Gesicki just because I think the wide receivers really own the show in Miami. I do really like Jack Doyle. I think Ebron's finally out of the picture. Doyle's finally got the tight end room to himself. And I know Indianapolis loves their tight ends. I know I already have Hilton on my team, but I just can't find a reason not to take Doyle here.
I absolutely – I'm not a weirdo, but I love Doyle, on my roster as a tight end. He doesn't say two words. He just goes out there and hammers away. He's what I picture when I think of a professional tight end.
So I still haven't addressed my quarterback position, and I have no regrets about waiting this long. I feel like I'm getting a steal right now. But Matt Ryan had a down year last year, so I feel like that kind of why he's still being left where he is. I think Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Hayden Hurst is going to get fed. They don't run the ball a whole lot, so I feel like the air shows the way they go. I don't see a reason not to take Matt.
4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns is really this benchmark,
Sure.
All right. Here I'm just going to take – he's in my queue. He's high up here. I'm just going to take Curtis Samuel. He's good for quite a handful of points a game, and he's definitely going to be someone I can cycle into my lineup. So I'm going to get Curtis Samuel.
People are still talking about a trade possibly with Curtis.
Okay.
I know. I heard that. But I think Curtis, wherever he lands, he can still fall and catch some passes. So.
I'm not mad at it.
A lot of people gave me a really hard time for this pick last year, but he has yet to let me down in any of my fantasy leagues that I've ever drafted him. So I'm going to go with Latavius Murray.
Oh, that was my next pick. That's a great pick.
Sorry.
Especially considering Kamara doesn't get all the carries out there.
Yeah. And Sean Payton is such a wild man, like in a good way. Wouldn't be surprised. He's got his own, I wouldn't be surprised if like Taysom Hill and Latavius Murray, they have their own packages. I mean,
I'm curious about something with the tight end position. Everybody waited really late to grab tight ends. Is that because of not a lot of value on the tight end? Is it because there's a lot of really talented young tight ends? Because I'm looking at tight end right now, and there's a lot of young tight ends still sitting there, like Jonnu Smith, Blake Jarwin, Ebron's still there, Gesicki, Dawson Knox. The guy, he's got a lot of upside. Just curious.
I think if you pair that with the fact that we have a third wide receiver option, there's a lot of third wide receivers out there that can bring you more value than those, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tight ends, and a lot of those unproven young guys. I don't like young tight ends at all. I don't like tight ends, period. Tight ends are the worst.
I got Kelsey right out of the gate. So, and
tell
us
how you really feel.
Super hard right there. Super hard. I got Kelsey right out of the gate. I feel so bad. I'm gonna take another flyer here as a bench player. I'm gonna go with Tyrell Williams. I think this guy's got big play upside, so that's really why I'm taking him.
Get to click on mute. But for here, I'm going to go with my backup tight end. I was going to do it before we had the conversation about tight ends, but it was just funny that happened then. I'm going to pick a pretty young guy who has the potential to push out Kyle Rudolph into that starting spot. His production last year was very limited, but he has been very proven. So I think Minnesota can turn Irv Smith into the new starter.
Right on cue with the young, talented tight end. I like that.
Look what you did.
So I'm gonna go. But with the talks that Leonard might get traded, I'm gonna select Armstead here as a deep sleeper.
Armstead's picked up some major steam recently with all the news about Fournette.
So I'm gonna go ahead and quarterback. I'm gonna go ahead and take Carson Wentz quarterback. As much running around as Josh Allen does, you gotta have backup person.
So it's back to me, end of round 13, 128th overall. I have no.
You're having some audio issues.
I like the choice. I like 99 there in Indianapolis. Mac gets hurt all the time. I don't know if you guys can hear, but that's what I'm doing.
Is anybody else having some bandwidth issues, or is that just me?
No, it's across the board, man.
My Wi-Fi was connecting to the wrong one for a while, so I was lagging, but now mine is just the audio.
I'm gonna take Daniel Jones here for the backup too. They got to beef up the O-line some more in New York, so I'm gonna go DJ with Eli Moore in New York.
All right, so Alshon Jeffrey is the best player available, but I think this is educational. It's a mock draft, And God, I'm having trouble hearing my own echo here. So I don't want to take Jeffrey because I took Jamison Crowder, and I think that they play kind of the same role here that they would play on my team. They're both that reliable player that's going to get you a finite amount of points off your bench every week. So I'm going to let somebody else take Jeffrey, even though I think he's a solid player. And I only have 3 running backs, so it's time to try and find the guy I'm more likely to become a starter here and become a good starter.
Does
Malcolm
everybody have
Brown
AirPods?
is the pick here.
Everybody have headphones on?
I don't, but
Is your computer? Who doesn't have headphones on?
I don't have headphones on. I'll put headphones on.
It could be. We get that when we do our stuff. If you don't have headphones on, sometimes the volume from the computer feeds back the microphone.
Okay, I'll try it.
I don't even know what I am still.
Oh, is it my pick? Though? Sorry.
Just place
Do
yourself.
not underestimate the value of a reliable kicker every single week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the opposite route and go ahead and shore up the defense. I will take San Fran.
Very disappointed that I wasn't able to get that.
Got it.
Well, I didn't want to be the first guy to draft a defense. So now that it's already been done, I really like what Pittsburgh is doing out that way. So this one's for you, Mr. David Reed. I'm drafting the Pittsburgh DST.
I'm taking a defense.
I mean, I almost feel obligated to take a defense here, but I'm going to get my backup quarter and go with Brian Tannehill.
I also am not going to go deep here. But to make it quick, since we don't hear the echo, go ahead and go kicker, Justin Tucker.
I am going defense. I'm going to take the Saints.
I am going to go for Matt Prater again, Lions, but there's some games where he's literally the only thing we can rely on, sadly.
Yeah.
So going with that.
Good from 50. All the time.
True. Right. I'm going to turn around and get Will Lutz, Saints.
I'm excited. We all decided to do this and get together and sit down for 2 hours and have fun and get it done.
I feel like the more people that put headphones in, the worse I got. In my opinion.
Well, at least it was good for the first 5 or 6 rounds. Now it's just kickers and defense.
If you're still watching, you're a super loyal fan.
Yeah, I would edit it down to like 5 rounds, 10 rounds.
The way it echoed there.
I don't know. I gotta be around. I gotta see Ben Still, Christian Kirk again.
Right.
You think Ben won the draft with that pick?
I honestly think it's the pick of the draft right now.
That's a 2020 Will Fuller. 2020 Will Fuller.
All right, I'm just gonna get my defense and get the Patriots here.
I'm going for the Ravens as my defense.
People are going to be upset. We told everyone live at 8. We'll have to wait for the video.
Win-win for us.
Now, you said you wanted to go live for the NFL draft, but I think you posted the date incorrectly. I think you posted the day before the real draft.
I can edit.
Yeah, little technicality.
All right, the pick I'm taking here. I think the 49ers take a receiver. They add to their core. I'm gonna take Jimmy G. On my bench.
Jimmy G.
Going defense here. Right on in with the Bucks.
I'm going to go ahead and take my kicker and take my kicker with regular line.
Let's see. We're going to tight end. I'm going to take the tight end. Blake Jarwin.
Boston Scott, getting the heck out of here.
I'm glad this guy's still around. I think he's got a chance to kind of split times at the two spot in Pittsburgh. Taking James Washington.
Alshon Jeffrey's going to go undrafted, isn't he?
I'm not touching him.
All right. I need a defense. LA has shown that this year at least they're willing to invest in that, even if they have no money for it. LA for the defense, and then I'm gonna roster quarterback, Big Ben. And last round.
I'm gonna take a kicker. Bobby G.
I got really nothing to say about a kicker, but I like Tampa Bay's guy. A lot of points, opportunities. Sure.
Yeah. Good point.
So I'm down to my left. I'm gonna take kicker. Younghoe Koo.
Onside kick king.
So for my last pick, now I'm down to defense. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Underrated defense this year.
One of the best in Dynasty. One of the very best you can pick up.
I'm gonna go back up quarterback here. Gonna go with the guy who's working on his full season audition. I'm gonna take Drew Lock.
Kicker. I'm gonna go with McManus.
I am actually my last pick for Mike Williams.
Ooh, dang. I was totally gonna go with Mike Williams. Sorry. Stealing my pick again. Now I don't know what to do. I guess we need my bench. Right now we got like Harry, Jeffrey, Miller, Fitz is still on the board. Old man Fitz.
That's disrespect.
Yeah. How old is he? How old is he?
Old enough that he needs to retire soon, but not old enough that he still can't ball out.
He's probably our age, Jeremy. Our age, Jeremy.
I mean, I remember watching Pittsburgh. So
yeah.
I'm just gonna grab Anthony Miller. Just someone on Chicago. If Trubisky can throw a nice ball for once in his life and not throwing an interception, maybe he can catch it. So I'm just gonna draft Miller here.
And we don't know that Mitch is the starter.
True. We'll see how the superhero Super Bowl MVP plays.
You're gonna take a tight end. Austin, you drafted a tight. Who'd you draft? That's it. Thank you. Be in touch.
Everyone.
I didn't know the audio was gonna crap out.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. See ya.